guys, it's another build for a Crusader from Method here. Basically this time we're going to be using the two-handed greatsword. Going to be calling this the Slashsader. Basically it's a single target, well, does AoE as well, but single target damage is just insane. Let's take a quick look at the gear. Going to be using a greatsword with the each killing blow heals an amount equal to the damage dealt. We're going to want as much crit on gear as possible with melee damage and single target damage, crit hit strength as well, and then you also want deflect and just basically anything that gives suppression. Like this perk right here is fantastic. You want this on the sword. Each successful deflected attack bestows plus 50% damage to your next attack. You're going to be deflecting between every single attack, so that's a 50% damage guaranteed at least. I believe it stacks. Inoculator, 2 reds and a green. Ideally, you would want 2 reds and 2 greens because you need the blood bomb and also absorbent, which it's basically a panic, so when field surgery procs, you can get instant 75% of your suppression and you're restoring 20% of your health over 20 seconds. We've got +2 warfare here, that's for the attributes, and then just your usual suppression, HP. Hopefully get a good roll. I got a perfect roll, 1% damage, 1% crit. For the armor, this is what the build goes around as well. It's a crit build, and each critical hit has a 20% chance to create a Rosarius force field. The other Rosarius force field, where it was a chance on hit, got really hit hard with the nerf. It was so overpowered though, like, I'm not even going to talk about that. But the other perk's a 2% chance on hit, and it doesn't really proc that often. Whereas 20% chance on crit, and if we look at the character sheet, we have 41% base crit. And when you take a look at the skills, they have critical strike, which gives an extra 10% critical hit chance. So we've got 50% chance to critical strike with every melee hit from strike. That the wide strike does not have crit, but we rarely use that. The crippling strike has vulnerability and critical strike, so we're going to be stacking vulnerability really fast because from the crit tree we stack vulnerabilities. Or is it the single target? We'll get into that next. And then will and attack just does absurd AoE damage as well. And it's just like the Great Axe. It heals you when any horde or anything around you dies from the AoE from it. Just again, single target tag, extra damage, vulnerability effects, critical chance, melee damage. It's basically just what you go for. Look at the character sheet. I've got just about 5,000 hit points, nearly 5,500 suppression, so I'm tanky as I'm in your face beast, just like the Great Axe build. I've got the Bleed Sailor. I've got 42% deflect chance, 27% damage reduction. I don't have that much resists. I do have a bit of warp resist, but that's just, things die fast, seriously fast. I mean, I've got the Feint Mastery, which is damage bonus percent. It's basically the go-to perks you have to use on most Sailor builds. The damage is equal to your deflect build, and 100% bonus deflect with melee weapons. So that's what gets me the 42% extra damage, as well as all the damage from physical here and melee damage. I'm also using 10% critical hit chance, but minus 10% HP. I'm tanky enough and I do enough damage to kill things in an impossible tower right now that I don't feel a need for anything defensive. We are aware that war zones are coming out, which are endless, so we could possibly change that to this one here, artificial organs, 100% HP regen, plus 500 HP, or we could go with, where is it, this one here, the instant resurrection, eternal warrior. Basically, it's a free cheat death, because if it's endless, if you die, I'm assuming that's going to be the end of it for you, but like what it is in other endless ARPGs. Tributes, I've got everything into warfare, basically to get 20, to get that 5% critical hit chance bonus, also the 5% deflect bonus, and movement speed. Movement speed is always good, fast clear, fast loot, easy. 10, I want at least 10 in toughness, so you get the 30 HP per second bonus to regen. And virtue, again, nothing there really interests me. The plus 10 warp resist, if I had another one attribute, I would stick it in there to get that warp resist, but I'm not going to lose 10 or 20 off this to get that 10 warp resist. It's just not happening. Take a look at the skills. When leveling, I would strongly suggest picking up field surgery to begin with. Put your first 4 points into this, because if you're playing melee, you want that 25%. When you hit 25% HP, you want that inoculator cooldown reset, so you've got a panic heal basically. We aren't going for the 10% HP and 10% max suppression. It gives at max level with gear around about 400, 500 health and 500 suppression, but that at the cost of 3 skill points. I couldn't find space for it basically. So I would fill. I would fill those up next. Get this second. The shock stimulus with every deflect, 5 suppressions regained. That basically means you can keep on fighting without having to use your inoculators or run out and take cover and regen. Then the rest, just if you're feeling comfortable, just put them in the HP. Then you're going to want to go into physical. Put it in, 5% critical strength with physical attacks. Physical. This is really good. 5% damage to all skills dealing physical damage with less than 1 second cooldown. I believe the strike is 0.9. Yep, 0.9, so it counts as less than a second, so that's an extra 5% damage for that. Critical hits deal with physical damage, bestow a stack and physical vulnerability. The faster we stack vulnerability, the better. It stacks up to 10, so yep, we'll take that. We don't take the plus 10% damage against bleeds because we ain't using the Great Axe, boys. It's all about the swords now. Physical damage, then concussive trauma. Physical attacks grant a stacking 10% damage bonus up to 50%. Maximum 1 token per second. Attacking a different target negates the bonus. This goes so well with the combo perk on the sword, which is basically here. Activates when making continuous attacks. Every 5th attack deals 500% damage. If I'm fighting an elite or a boss, I don't want to interrupt that combo. You do not want to do crippling strike. You do not want to do spin and blow. You don't want to do nothing. It has to be 5 attacks without anything in between. You cannot... Yeah, you can't do anything in between. If you do 4 attacks and then do a crippling strike, it resets that back to 0. And you lose that 500% damage. And when that 500% damage hits and you've got all these perks ramped up, it hits fucking hard, man. Close combat. We don't have anything that's slow, shock, stunned, or frozen, but we need this main perk here, so we're taking them anyway. There's another critical hits provide 1 stack in vulnerability, so that's critical hits are doubling up on the vulnerability stacks. We've also got this here, 5% critical hit chance bonus to combo skills. So as well as having 41% crit and then the 10% crit on the strike here, which is the combo skill, it's also getting another 5%, so that's 55% crit, 56 if you want to be specific. We've also got melee kills, grant 20% movement speed. Zoom, we're going to go fast, get fast loot. Then got 7% damage when you're around 3 mobs. Oh no, that's that one, when you're around 3 mobs, and then you've got the 7% damage when you're getting single target. It's basically you take both of them and you get 7% damage either way. We're also taking riposte. Successful deflects provide a stack and 5% damage bonus to the next attack. The amount of deflects you take per second when you're in a group of surrounded by ranged, that stacks basically straight away to max. We've then dipped into criticals. Unfortunately, I tested it and I did max out the crit tree, but it's just not worth it, because going down here, it's 2% crit chance with range skills, so I'm getting 2% crit for all of that investment. I felt getting this was stronger from what I felt from my build anyway. I didn't feel that I needed this. I mean, it sounds good. Grants a stacking 10% damage bonus up to 100% for 10 seconds when a critical hit results in a kill. It's good if you're going to use the build for farming, like fast missions like tarots or something like that, but I'm thinking forward here, guys, and if we're going to be doing end game and we're fighting a boss, this isn't going to be proccing, because you ain't going to be killing that fast, and you might not be guaranteed on killing with the crit, even though it's a really high crit build. I don't like relying. I would just rather have sustained guaranteed damage, basically. But yeah, we've got every critical hit heals the character for 1% HP. We've got over 50% crit, basically, so we're going to be healing every other hit just about. We've got critical hit strength added here, and then we've got this as well, every critical hit chance by 1% until you critical hit. So if I don't crit, I'm going to hit. I possibly might take that out and put it somewhere else in the Puritan. I think I would, yeah, depending on how the Warzone goes, I would put one here when I have it unlocked. For each demon killed bestows 20% health regeneration and 20% suppression regeneration, just keep survival rate up. And then I would take Holy Conclave, 4% maximum health and 2% damage to new and nearby allies. We're going to be going co-op, boys. Even if we're solo, that's still nice. 4% health, 2% damage. That was just a placeholder to place here. And that's it. It hits hard. I mean, the axe, the Bleed Satyr was nice, but I'm feeling this. It took me a good about 5 to 10 missions to get used to not having the charge, the execute ability on the axe, but I do have a bit more movement speed on my gear now, so I'm not. I don't feel without it. And there was also a slight nerf to the axe where the bleeds are only applied when the enemies are in yellow suppression. So you lost quite a lot of damage until you got them into yellow suppression, especially when you're getting high end game. I would say this is definitely the go-to build now for two-handed melees for a Crusader. But yeah, I'm going to drop some gameplay. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you're feeling about it. If you would like a build around a weapon you like, if you want to see a build around a thunder hammer or a one-handed axe, just drop a comment, let me know, and I'll see what I can come up with. So yeah, let's get ready for Warzone, boys, and let's get to it. Method out.